But in all seriousness, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude. And while we are still sad about our Philadelphia 76ers dropping to 1-4 last night, to make ourselves feel better, we have our resident Nets sicko. We actually have like 3 or 4 Nets sickos that we have now. We have literally half of the Nets fan base comes onto the podcast or the streams to talk now. But the original one, Reed Wallach, we have Reed here. So, Reed, what is going on with the Nets right now?
Where do we get? We know where we want to start, though. It is with Ben, so we'll take it. Let's start with Ben. Yeah, it's pretty dark, and it's I don't know where I'm at between like hitting the panic meter, because there are like ways of like coping with this slow start. They played a pretty tough schedule. You know, it is a new team, you know, Seth's still out, you know, Ben, is it rust because he had back surgery in addition to his year-long layoff? Like, it is a newer group, so like maybe it could come together. But like, honestly, this team is going nowhere without Ben. And from the very small sample size, he just looks like a shell of himself. Like the bar, and Bill Simmons tweeted it, and like he's spot on. He's like, Jeff Van Gundy was like commending Ben for yelling at the ref for like a bad call or something. Like that is like the bar set for him. And like, it's honestly the truth. Like I watch with 2 of my buddies pretty much every game, or like we'll be in like our active group chat, and the bar is just so low for Ben to get over. Like it's like, just look at the rim. Like it's right there. Just look at it. Like he got the ball in the paint one time. I think it was when like Kyrie was like, shoot it, Ben, or whatever.
Right.
He was like, no, like going out. Like, no, thank you. Like I'm really asking for such a little amount, and he looks like he has no interest. Like, I don't know if it's rust and he has no feel, or he's sapped. Like, it's like the explosion isn't there. He's just like, is he washed already? Or is it all mental where he just can't get over this hurdle?
I've had this thought a lot, because I'll say this much. I've casually watched every Nets game this year. I have not been fully locked in. I mean, part of me is it's therapy to make me feel a little bit better about the Sixers. As my friend from Twitter, Treblaw, tweeted last night, this makes me feel 10% better about the Sixers when Ben Simmons is struggling. And it's not because we want Ben to fail. It's not because of all that. It's because we were told that Philadelphia, Joel Embiid, the fit was the problem. And now to see him go to another situation, and once again, it's 4 games. It's early in the season. He hasn't played basketball in a while. Maybe there are some things he could overcome. But this is the worst I've ever seen him look.
He looks really, really bad. Like, even like for like a bad basketball player, he looks really bad.
Right.
It's really, really bad.
Exactly. And I think that Russ might be playing some kind of factor, but like, I mean, I think StatMuse tweeted last night he's the only player in the NBA that is a starter and has played over 100 minutes that has not reached 25 points and 25 rebounds on the season. He does not look to score.
No.
I'm going to give him a break with the defense stuff. I think the defense will eventually get back to the point where I don't know if he'll ever be one of the best defenders in the NBA again, but I think that will come with time. A lot of the fouls have been ticky-tack foul calls. I don't think that they are indicative of who he is as a defender. And also, like, look, I know people complain about Joel Embiid and James Harden foul hunting all the time. I don't know how you can guard Giannis. I really don't.
He did well in the first half. I weirdly think we could stay on Ben, but like, it may sound like, I know they had like the worst defensive rating or whatever. I actually think the Nets defense isn't like as big of an issue as like the numbers may indicate. The rebounding is an issue, which is part of defense, but like Ben's defense like isn't killing them. It's on the other end that he's really bad. Yeah. And like, again, is it rust? Like he literally missed a shot and he had like a 2K frustration foul. Literally just like went over and hacked the guy who got the rebound because he was so pissed that like, I think he missed a shot or like whatever. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, like what? And like I said, it is such a low bar for him to clear. I'm asking for like, I'm asking for him to shoot, like just like floaters or just look at the rim. Like, even if you miss, like I'll live. Like, it just, you're killing the offense because Claxton looks like he's like taking a leap here. He's like a real player now. Yeah. Looks awesome. But like, he can't play next to Claxton for like significant minutes. Like maybe in like some iterations, like for defense, because they're both like long, rangy defenders and they can switch everything. But like in the flow of half-court offense, that's not going to work. So we did this with Joe Harris where he came off the bench and he's on a minutes limit after like he had this reconstructive ankle surgery. why are we like throwing Ben right into the fire? I honestly think because Day'Ron Sharpe, he's not an NBA player. He's killing me.
He's terrible.
Yeah,
I don't know. I know that he had fans pre-draft, but absolutely do not see it.
Yeah,
with that
he can't.
Claxton, at least early in his career, you could see the flashes in the moments where you were like, "Wow, he has potential to be something." And now he's in his third season and he's kind of figuring out. Day'Ron Sharpe is terrible.
I think Ben has to be the backup 5. I know that's like a huge demotion.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, so once again, I was DMing with Alec from Nets Daily the other day, and I was like, my whole thing with Ben, and it has been my thing kind of since I realized
this is your thing.
Well, it's not even it's not my own personal thing. Like a lot of people have pointed this out. I'm not saying that this is
your podcast.
Not to take credit for this, but the thing is that, like, you know, when Ben is normal, when he is at least somewhat looking to score, he's a pass connecting guy, he can be an effective player. He has to be surrounded with the absolute perfect pieces to make it work. Mm-hmm. He has to have shooting at every other position because of his lack of shooting ability. He has to have a center who can shoot as well. So, like, miss me with the Mike Muscala stuff. Come on. It's 2022. People are still talking about, like, we need a stretch big and whatever. It's like, okay, if that is the case, your rebounding is going to suffer. So then you need a guy who is a shooter, but also a rebounder, can protect the rim. Like, at a certain point, who does Ben Simmons fit with? Is my whole thing. 100%. Like you are bending over backwards to honestly appease, at this point, your 4th or 5th best player, because you do this for your best players. You do this for Kevin Durant. You do this for Joel Embiid. You do this for guys who are worth Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's why you have Chris Middleton. Like, you do this for guys who are worth building around. You don't do it for guys who don't work on their game at all, who don't want to improve in any capacity, or at least don't have the ability to improve. Because, like, at this point, he's 25 years old. He kind of is who he is. If he doesn't have the ability to create any sort of offense for himself in the half court, if he's not buying into the Draymond role that everyone wants him to buy into, which, look, it's had mixed results. Sometimes in the preseason, it looked great. In the regular season, it's had its moments. But at the end of the day, that's all about Ben buying into the role. And when he's setting lazy screens and people are able to get over them very easily, when he's not rolling directly off of a screen and then he's just kind of standing around and waiting to reset a screen, that's not going to work. And then defensively, once again, I think some of the defensive numbers are like Will from the streams, who comes on, who's a Nets fan, has pointed out to me. John Morant and Desmond Bane were literally unstoppable from 3 in that game.
It's way too small a sample size.
Some of them were defensive miscommunications on switches, which is funny because it's like, it's Desmond Bane. Like, you just make sure that guy's literally never open. You can live with whatever else happens. But my whole thing with that, and I do agree that I don't think the defense is as bad as like 134 defensive rating, which would shatter the NBA record for being bad, basically. It's obviously not that bad. Small sample size, hot shooting, whatever. But if you're appeasing Ben, if you are building your team around Ben and all of his weaknesses, instead of thinking about Kevin Durant and Kyrie and what makes them the best player that they can possibly be, that's where it's going to be a struggle, because Nick Claxton has honestly been better than Ben Simmons this season. Sure. So, like, there's no way that you can justify not starting Claxton. And if that's the case, then it's going to create some sort of issues on offense or defense. And I think Ben at the 5 in certain instances might work, but there might need to be some other moves that you make just to make that work. Which is weird. Like, I'll talk about PJ Tucker later, which he's driven me insane. But getting a 4 in that kind of mold where he can be like a fake small ball 5 that could do some rim protection, some rebounding, some shooting from the corners, like a PJ Washington type or whoever it is.
And I think the Nets always have needed to make another move. That's always been, like, this isn't like you can look at the roster in the offseason and say, like, oh, we need another big. Like, that's apparent.
Right.
But I just think, like, I don't know if we could just be like not caving into Ben, but like appeasing Ben, like you just said. Like, he's killing the team. Like, this roster, and I know it looks dark and they're 1-3 and people are gonna, that's why I'm not like full blown panic mode. Like, holy shit. I think you're like further along on like the the panic mode structure with the Sixers.
100%.
I'm still like let's like see where we're at in a little bit. It's been kind of a tough schedule to start, but if Ben's not going to get marginally better game over game, like I don't understand. Like I get it's rust and maybe like his explosion isn't there yet. Like first of all, he tried like going at Giannis, which like good Ben, we like that. Like good try Ben, but like he then like doesn't get it. I think he gets like blocked or whatever out of bounds, and he immediately grabs his back and like, oh my God, like is this going to happen anytime you try to play basketball? Like what?
Yeah.
So if he's not going to get marginally better game over game, what are we doing here? Like, you're not a starting basketball player, which is dark, but play him at backup 5. Like, a matchup last time with, like, Brook Lopez and Drop. Like, if Ben is setting actual screens, which you pointed out, he's not setting actual screens. He's kind of just standing there and, like, not rolling to there. And, like,
when you have Drew Holiday at the point of attack, he's going to get around that.
Get over this. Like,
yes.
What are we doing here? Like, how long do we need to get to where it's like, all right, this Ben thing is like a real issue and you are now a backup? Like, I'm asking for like 10. What was his stats in Philly the last year?
14 points a game. Like,
I'll ask for like 10, 7, and 7. Like, that's all I'm asking. Because like the Nets roster, like maybe they're not finals contender until they make another move for a big. Please, Miles Turner. I don't know how that happens, but please. But the roster isn't the issue, I don't think. Like Seth Curry's coming back next week, probably. TJ Warren, maybe he comes back. Like Markieff Morris he missed the last 2 games due to personal reasons. That like he can't play a lot, but like kind of hurts like those sharp minutes. Like he's a professional, like kind of big man. Like I don't think the roster is that far gone, but ultimately the Nets aren't going to reach even close to their ceiling if Ben is going to be just an absolute shell of himself. Like it's dark that like. And also, I don't owe Ben anything. Like, like we got this guy because our disgruntled superstar last year got pissed that our other disgruntled superstar didn't get vaccinated. And then our other best player got hurt. And then the team started losing. So he wanted out. And then we got Ben. Like, I don't like, it's not like for you, like you kind of not grew up with Ben, but like, you watch Ben grow. Like he's our number 1 pick. Like, you want him to succeed.
His rookie season, he was literally like, and I've said this 100 times before, but Ben Simmons is the historical outlier for impact metrics for a rookie season for a player that did not become a legit Hall of Fame level.
Yeah, so like
every other guy, Kyrie, Luka, KD for the past 15, 20 years, that was as good as Ben in his rookie season is on that Hall of Fame trajectory, and Ben is just not. And that was one of the things that really frustrated Sixers fans as well.
Yeah, so like I don't owe Ben anything. That's why this season, like last year, like was kind of like stressful, but like I still like could see the light. Like this is like I'm more frustrated because like Ben will like at one point just like drive at Sandy Aldama and finish over him, and I'm like I'm almost like mad at him for doing it because like, why don't you just do that like at least 5 times a game? Like they're not going anywhere. Like what?
You have the 4-year Ben Simmons Sixers experience in 4 games. I'm telling you.
Like, are you looking at yourself like 5 years ago or 3 years 100%,
ago? 100%. I was crazy.
Like,
2 years
I'm
ago,
like mad at him for doing well now because it's like you should just do this all the time.
When I started the podcast less than 2 years ago, like in January of 2021, the first episode I ever did, I was really upset we didn't trade Ben for James Harden. Like that was like the literal first episode of this podcast. And the rest of the season, I'm talking myself back into Ben, defending Ben and being like, he will be fine, until it became evident that it was not fine anymore. And it was just like, all right, you can't really deny this anymore. Like you've lied to yourself for so long. And now going back, it's kind of embarrassing listening to those podcasts because that's what you do as a fan. You talk yourself into whoever's on the team and how it could work and how you could, maybe reach your ceiling and get to a conference finals or win the finals. And now listening to these net spaces, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone a little bit because it's all the same conversations that we had for years, but Ben is even worse now. So it's not even like it's not even like where we can look at, like you said, what did he averages last year in Philly? 14, 7, and 7 on 55% from the field. And
that sounds great.
We were frustrated with him.
That's all, but dude, sounds great.
With all-world defense, by the way, with literally being a top 5,
oh my
top
God,
10
sign me up for that. What do I have to give up for that?
Exactly.
What do I have to do for that? And
right now, he's averaging 5, 6, and 7 on 45% from the field.
And So like we could talk Nash if we want to get into that, but like I don't know if we're setting him up for success, but again, it's back to your point where it's like, why are we catering to Ben Simmons? We should be catering to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, who, like, first of all, I know you're gonna like think I'm crazy. I don't even think Durant has played like that well just yet. Like, it's still
the Memphis game. He was
the Memphis game in the second half. He was playing.
Oh, he was incredible.
Yeah,
I was like,
perfect. You don't get like he'll make a shot, and I just go like, it's the perfect shot. It is just like, it's like a pew, like right through the net.
Once again, you came on the podcast over the summer. I was like, this is still Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
he's going to age better than most guys as long as he avoids injuries.
His impact still isn't like 100% capacity. Like, he's not like humming just yet altogether. Like, the pieces are still clunky, and it's weird because in the preseason, everyone was lauding. I'm not even gonna try and say his last name, but Igor, the former Suns coach. I'm not even gonna bother his last name, but we got him, and everyone's like, "Oh my god! Like, look at these sets! Like, we're running like inverted Spain pick and rolls and this and that." Like, where did that go? Did we like it so much that we're gonna throw this one out? Like, no, thank you.
You gotta save it for the play-in tournament.
We're gonna save all the good plays with Ben. We're humming on offense. That's why I really got excited going into the year, because Ben was moving. I know it's preseason, so it's like kind of exhibition-y, but like, you could still, first of all, we played the Bucks and the Timberwolves and beat them handily. That's impressive. And like, we looked good. The ball was moving. Like, did we just like burn those tapes? Like, I don't understand. Did we hide those? We should watch those, because like Ben was moving great. He was like dunking and all that shit. Like, I don't know.
Do you think it's the backup quarterback thing? Like the Patriots are seeing right now, where like you get a few games of film on a guy and you understand
that Ben can't do anything, so we're just gonna play all the way off of him.
Exactly. And like when they did that in the Bucks preseason game, he was actually able to take advantage of it, hitting Claxton on the oop coming off the screen. He was able to work out of the short roll, but it seems like teams are willing to challenge him. Teams are willing to say, look, if you're not going to look at the rim, if you're not going to be a scoring threat, there was that great play he had in the Raptors game where he blew past Christian Koloklu on the perimeter, and he got downhill, collapsed the entire defense. Delano Banton, everyone was going around him, and everyone was celebrating. What's that?
Oh, and he kicked it out to the corner for a three. Is that what the one?
No.
Oh, okay.
Claxton was coming up the lane, and he dished it off to Claxton, and he dunked, and everyone celebrated. And I was like, why did he not just dunk the ball? Like I know it's good because it ends in a dunk, but someone pointed out like that was like the Thibault play, but Claxton can actually finish. Like those kind of things, while the results might be fine, I would still be worried about the process, because it shows that he really is not progressing when it comes to the things that he needs to be able to overcome in order to be an impactful player and a playable player in a half-court setting. And this is something that I think that I at least hope for his sake it will get better over time. My question, I have two more questions with Ben for you.
Okay.
The one is, how long do you, because Kyrie, he says last night, shoot the ball, Ben. Like obviously the entire defense is around him, but he could have just laid it in.
By the way, just for the record, because I know it was like a funny social clip, I'm not even defending Ben. I think it's been very clear that I'm not like a Ben defender. It did end in a Kevin Durant mid-range jumper, so like it wasn't like it ruined the flow or anything. But yes, you're right.
But it was a bang play, and he's still not even processing.
Your instinct as a basketball player should be go up with it,
exactly.
Not look out and throw it further away from the hoop.
Sure,
right,
sure.
Sorry.
And everyone on social is going to be piling on him right now, because that's kind of the thing that everyone does with him and Russ right now. But the thing with Ben is, I guess my question is, if this thing doesn't get, it's got to get marginally better. If it doesn't get massively better, because I think, to me, if you're Kevin Durant and you're Kyrie Irving, this could be Kyrie's last year with the team. This could be KD's last year with the team. He almost asked out over the summer. Who knows? How much patience do you think these guys really have with Ben, with the situation, before they start to be like, all right, if this guy, it cannot be fixed and he is who he is, we're not winning a championship with him as our third guy, and he might not be even playable in big playoff moments. So how Kyrie defended him at the press conference, to be fair.
Yeah.
He was like, Ben hasn't played basketball in 2 years, even though it's only been a year and a half. But he was like, Ben hasn't played basketball in 2 years, but do you think that they really do have this, or they're just being good teammates?
I think it's a little bit of everything, but I do think the vibe around the team doesn't seem as panicky as like I do, which like, sure, let me be the panicky one. I'm more than willing to take that role. I think you got to give it like a little bit of time. Like I said, again, it's like incredibly dark, but like I said before the game, I was like, all right, let's just hope Ben is better each game, even if it's just like slightly in the right direction. Like just play a little bit better each game, and then like by the All-Star break, you'll be good again. Like it's so I think you need to. I think you got to give it like 20 some odd games. Like it's like four games. It feels like a lot, but like it's 4 games, and they also played 4 playoff teams. So like, I think after Dallas tonight, which I don't even know how to think about that. I know they're home underdogs, but even if they lose that one, they fall to 1-4. They play the Pacers 2 times in a row. I think it's like the Bulls, the Wizards, another crappy team. The Knicks are coming up. Like it gets.
Don't sleep on the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the Nets aren't like walkovers over anyone because like they could play up or down to the
Bulls have surprised me though. Like with the Celtics game and the Heat game.
I still classify the Bulls as like that should be a win, assuming the team plays well. That should be a win.
They're a play-in team.
Yeah, so the schedule eases up. So like, what if like, all right, we start 1-4. Let's say they lose tonight, like, and then all of a sudden they rip off like 5 in a row. It's like the schedule caters itself to that. They probably won't because they're like incredibly frustrating, but like it caters itself to that. And then like, what if Ben starts playing better? Then it's like, all right, slow start. Like I was begging so much for like a hot start where like the team comes out like gangbusters. And I thought honestly after the last 2 preseason games as possible. Obviously, we're not getting that. It's going to be a clunkier fit. And then it comes, okay, is KD asking out, or is it time to fire Nash because the offense, the team constantly looks unprepared. The team has had slow starts in the first quarter. They get hot in the second quarter when the game, like the flow picks up. And then they come out in the second half and they look terrible again in the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter is kind of like, all right, well, we're not going to pass the ball because it's kind of the end of the game. And like, we need Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to bail us out, which like probably bad process, but like, what are you going to do when they're amazing? And like the Nets, honestly, like last night, plenty of opportunities to get back in that game, and they missed a shit ton of open threes. So whatever. I think that's bad coaching, and I've been like a Steve Nash defender for a while because, he was
dealt a shitty hand. I mean, let's be honest. Like he got a ton of talent, but no one ever got along. So
yeah, like it's not his fault that like he took this job and a pandemic started and like all that stuff. Like this was his first real.
It's one way to put it.
Yeah, like this is his first real shake at being coached, like full training camp. Everyone, seems happy. So it just seems like he doesn't really have a feel for the coaching job. And he's now been the coach. This is his 3rd season. So whether you have been like had your hand held or not, like this is your 3rd year and you're still like, there's still like a lot of situational things where I'm like, timeout, like you missed that one. They scored again, like timeout, please. Like, so I wonder if in the offseason, Joe Tsai and Kevin Durant, their meeting said like, all right, if we start X or X for X, like 5 and 10,
sure,
we'll fire Nash. Like that's our contingency. Like if we start shitty, we will fire Nash.
Right.
I don't believe in that because it seems like Tsai and Nash are just like buddy, and like it is what it is. But I wonder if there's a contingency plan where it's like, Kevin, don't ask out, give Steve a chance. If we fail, he is our scapegoat. We will fire him. And that will get better, even though we should talk probably about like what Ben's deal is.
So my thing is, I think it goes fire Nash is the first option, obviously, because
I don't know if they're going to do that though.
But here's the thing. What are your other options? Are you going to trade Kyrie? Because that's your only other option. Ben has no trade value right now. Ben has, and this is the next thing I was going to ask you, which is if Ben doesn't get better, does he have the worst contract in the NBA? Like he's 3-year max deal.
Yeah, probably. Because at least Russ is coming off now. But like at least Russ, like, so I call it like.
Oh God! At least Russ.
No, I call it the dad syndrome because like old men like they don't like understand like new basketball and stuff. Like I talk basketball with my dad all the time, and my dad, I love him, knows ball, he's great. But like he also like will like look at the box score and still think like a triple double is like super impressive. Like he's still like with that. So like. We're talking the offseason, and I like, I'll update. He's not like on Twitter or anything. So I have to like tell him the news. I'm like I have to explain to him. And I'm like, I don't know, like we're talking about trading Kyrie for like Russ and like whatever. And he's like, I don't know. Like I love Russ. I still think he's good. Like I love Russ. I'm like, what? And he's like,
Russ is terrible.
He's like, guy's a triple double, plays hard. Like, he gets rebounds. Like he's great. I'm like, no. Like, don't tell people that.
You look at the box score, you watch the energy, you see the fact that he cares. And like,
like my dad likes the heart. Like he's like still an old man, like heart. I'm like, Dad, he is like maybe outside the top 100. There's a talent.
He definitely is. I don't think he's a top 100 player.
So like at least Russ, we'll start there again. He like is trying to play and he's trying to go to the rim. He can't shoot, whatever, but like he's in the flow. Like I want to see Ben in the next few games, like take some shots, man. Like, come on, like let's look at the rim, like try, like like please. I also like weirdly get like, and we get back-to-back contract, but did this happen in Philly where during warm-ups he'll sit at the free throw line and he'll make like 7 in a row and then he'll get there in the game and miss like 7 in a row? Like I don't understand. Does that happen? Because I have a new working theory.
I don't remember the free throws, but the threes, I mean, he would make them all the time in warm-ups.
No warm-ups with threes. Strictly free throws. He sits there all warm-ups. Also, he has like the worst form ever. Like it's like the hand is
shot like, putting,
I don't know. It's weird. But
Kevin O'Connor vindicated.
Yeah, in warm-ups, just splash, butter. I'm telling you, I think, do you watch Billions?
No, I've never watched Billions.
You watch Billions? Okay, so in the show, like Bobby Axelrod, the hedge fund guy, I don't know if you know like the premise, but I'll be really quick.
Yeah, I get
the hedge fund, and he has this performance coach, Wendy Rhodes, who is the wife of like the other guy, the guy who's trying to put Bobby Axelrod away. That's like the whole premise. But she's like a performance coach, and she's the best performance coach, and she gets the best for like all the traders and stuff and all that stuff. Like Joe Tsai, I know Alibaba stock is like tanking, but like you have a lot of money. Like find the best performance coach and get Ben to stop being like what, like I don't know, there has to like stop being so soft, like stop being so afraid of the rim. Like he has to overcome this fear because like I said, like he'll do it like twice a game. Why can't you do it more? Like I don't understand this like mental block he has. Like, can we figure that part out? Like it seems like they're just like, yeah, Ben's like in great shape. He looks great, like all this stuff. And then again, the game, and it's like the exact same thing we feared. So what did he learn over this like year and a half?
So it's amazing because you're at the 2019-2020 part of the Ben Simmons experience.
Am I just like accelerated clock here?
Yeah. So like we saw 17-18, we saw 18-19, and we were like, look, he's still young. He can get better. He can work on parts of his game. We'll give him the max contract, but like, he's going to get better. Like every young player gets better. No one struggles forever. It's just a natural progression of a young NBA player. Then in year 3, it was really 2019-2020 was his really last good NBA season from beginning to finish. But he still had the shooting issues where he didn't want to shoot. He shot his first 3 that season, like a real 3, and made it.
It's really like coddling a child. He shot his first 3. It was special.
It's no, for real. Like, go back and watch the clips. As much shit as Philly fans get, go back and watch the clip from when he made his first 3 in that Knicks game, and it's like we won the NBA Finals. like seriously, they were so happy that he just shot and made a 3, and then he kind of stopped doing that. The free throw thing didn't really come back until the following season where that was an issue, but they brought in a sports psychologist. He spoke with him. He met with him during the COVID, like little layoff before the bubble. Ben comes back into the bubble and he looks awesome. He looked great to start. In the exhibition games, I was like, this is literally LeBron James. Like, who is this? Who is this man?
In the bubble, right?
Then he hurt his back against the Bucks, and we were like, oh, okay, maybe this is like, maybe he just has a temporary setback. Then he comes back the next year and he's kind of broken. He starts the next year amidst all of the Harden trade rumors. And then that is kind of what set off this mental lapse with him, where like he would still have games like, once again, even in that bad season, even in the 2021 season, he had a game against the Utah Jazz where he scored like 40 points and had a triple-double.
I've watched those highlights. It's like the top thing that comes up on YouTube when like you need like some Ben Simmons love. Like it's like Ben Simmons destroys Utah Jazz fire emoji. Like 44, 12, and 13 was just running circles around them.
was the best game of his career. Almost beat the Utah Jazz when they were the number 1 seed without Joel Embiid. Like, it wasn't that long ago that he was like legitimately, at least in the regular season, a top 20, 25 player. And to see the fall from that to what he has become, it's sad in some ways, but it's also partially due to the fact that, like, I feel bad about the mental stuff, but I also feel like part of it is like he didn't really dedicate himself to basketball in the same way that a lot of other stars do. At one point, his rookie year, we were comparing Ben Simmons to Giannis, and look at what the trajectory of those two players has become. That's all I can say about him. On the and my thought back to this, on the open market right now, what would Ben Simmons get? And I'm like, would he get Kyle Anderson money? Thad Young? Like, that's the kind of player that he is if he continues to play like this. So that's like, I don't know. Like, is he getting the taxpayer MLE, the MLE? I still think, and I said this the other day, I still think that Ben has one more I can fix him trade left in him if the Nets do decide to move on.
I don't think they're going to.
I don't think they're going to either, but think about it like this. Right now, the major issue that Ben Simmons creates for the Nets, other than the fact that he's looked terrible to start the year, is, and he doesn't fit with players, is the fact that you guys can't get back that second contract if you are to trade for, you can't get a Bam Adebayo, you can't get a DeAndre, well, you could get DeAndre Ayton, but there's a pool of players that you literally cannot accept back in a trade if you trade Kevin Durant eventually. So that's the only scenario in which I see them being like, we're going to trade Ben because we just need to get the best player that we can. And once again, like, if the Pacers called today, and I'm not talking about, like, I'm talking to, that's a separate scenario. I'm talking about if you want to save the KD Kyrie team.
Yeah.
If the Pacers called today and said Miles Turner and Buddy Hield.
For Ben?
Yes.
Drive him to the airport. For Ben?
Yes.
You kidding me? Yeah. Hell yeah. Sign me up.
So I've been thinking about it. I don't think the Pacers would do that at this point. I don't think
so either, but that's the team you need to target. I remember we were talking over the summer about, like, if Ben were to be part of these trades, he has to go to these rebuilding teams because, like, you could build around Ben because Ben is such a tricky fit next to, like, certain players. He needs to be his own thing. But, like, at this point, like, again, it's only 4 games. So, like, we are overreacting, but we're trying to also see that, like, this
it's more fun this way. Let's be honest.
It's more fun this way, but, like, he has looked really, really bad.
Yeah.
And again, maybe it is rust, and maybe he does put it together, which, like, yeah, that's on the table, but he looks so bad. I just think, like, you do need to target your Indianas and your Utahs as teams that would take Ben because, 1, they're going to have the cap space, and 2, it's like they have like a blob, and like you could start to build it around with Ben in the mold. Like you get the players that fit with Ben, because we were just saying how difficult it is to fit players around Ben. At least if you start from 0 with Ben, at least like now you can start to see the vision. Like Ben was kind of forced into our lap.
Yeah. And this was the thing that if you go back and listen to all of my Ben Simmons trade podcasts, I was like, Sacramento, Indiana, these are the teams that should be trading for Ben Simmons. It should not be the Nets. It should not be the Lakers. It should not be these teams that have these massive markets and pressure and Hall of Fame players. Mm-hmm. And he has to, like, I really think him getting traded to Sacramento would have been the best thing possible for him.
I said the same thing.
Or San Antonio.
Start over. No one will look at you. You can
exactly.
Be terrible, but no one will really care.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, so if you like this clip, please subscribe to the You Know Ball Patreon to get the hour and 40 minutes where we also talked about Doc Rivers, the Sixers, PJ Tucker's weird fit, the team looking lackadaisical, and whether Doc Rivers is going to be the coach for the rest of this season. So if you want to hear that, plus a bunch of other stuff that we talked about, 1 hour and 40 minutes worth of content, please subscribe to the You Know Ball Patreon. You'll also get access to the Discord and a bunch of other cool stuff. So thank you. Appreciate it.